right, what we have here is a 2002 Landau 1236. It is a smaller length boat, but 36 is a pretty good width. So I'm hoping this thing is going to be pretty stable. Looks like it's all original, other than someone put the seats on here. It's like factory paint, which is great. If any of you guys have painted a John boat before, you know what I'm talking about. If the less coats of paint on a John boat before you paint it, the better. I mean, pretty simple little boat. You got your little front seat, one here, one in the back. As far as what it came with a motor, which is always good. This is a 1997 Johnson 6-horse. At some time, somebody wanted to paint the whole thing white. Not sure why, but they also did that and put the older Johnson decals on, which I found out why last night. I looked up the original decals. They're like $100. This one right here is like 12, so I understand that, cutting that little corner. Of course, I did the right thing and did not try to crank it up before I bought it, and just going off somebody's word that it runs pretty good. He did say it was sluggish on this boat. Seems like a 6 ought to push a 1236 decent. I was thinking maybe 10 mile an hour at least. I'd like to get the motor running and take the boat out before I do anything to it to see, because this boat is actually ready for a 10-horse. What I thought about doing is getting a Johnson or Evinrude 15-horse, which is the same weight as a 9.9. It's the same exact motor, different carburetor. I mean, I would take a 9.9 too and possibly do the carburetor swap to get the 15 horse. Mainly the horsepower ratings on these things are for the weight. So a 9.9 and a 15 is the same weight. Why not go with a 15? Just stay out of the throttle if it gets too sketchy on you. But that's why I like to get this thing running, just to see how it does. I mean, if this thing goes 10, 11 miles an hour as is, I'll just keep it, because I kind of need to keep this sucker out here on a budget, because it's going to be hard to get rid of if I decide to get rid of it, because it's a 12-foot boat. It also came with a gas tank that looks like it came out of the bottom of the Mississippi River. Fuel line looks like it's seen better days too. We have almost a full gallon of 2-stroke oil, rope, fire extinguisher when things get too fast. We got these aluminum strips. Not exactly sure what they are. It says handy ramp on it. Maybe it's like for wheelchair ramps or something. I don't know. He left them in here. Might be able to try to use them on something. Like I said, they're aluminum. Got an anchor, the dry rod rope. Got a paddle. If you look real close, it's got a hairline crack right around in here. I actually broke that myself yesterday because I'm dumb. 2 seats, probably want to take off. And that's about it as far as inside the boat. And we got this trailer, which is fairly interesting. It looks like it's been Frankenstein together. I've never seen one that has been dropped like that. The tongue portion. But, I mean, it seems to be solid. Everything's welded up real good. Almost welded up too good. You see the bunk brackets are welded on there, and the bunks are standing up, which I don't like, because it pushes your boat up higher, makes you have to get deeper in the water to get your boat to float. And also this axle is interesting. Well, it's got perches on the bottom and the top. I guess somebody threw this axle on here from another boat and then welded some more perches on the top because the original ones were too wide. I don't know. Tires are shot. Well, actually, the wheels are shot. They're all rusted. Don't trust them. So that's $100 gone. I'm getting a pair of those already. Dude said taillights work. I haven't tested them yet. The wiring looks like it has seen much better days. So it might be in our interest to go ahead and get a wiring kit. They're pretty cheap. We got some interesting stuff going on with this trailer. These guide posts right here, guide rails. They looks like Ray Charles worked on this thing, so we'll have to do something with that. Maybe cut these things off and reconfigure them somehow. I like guide posts on a trailer. They really do help you a lot loading a boat, so we'll try to figure that out too. Also, you can tell this thing is way too forward. You always want the back of your boat. I mean, it's okay to be this forward on your bunks. It's not going to hurt anything unless your motor is bumping into your roller. So you need to back this whole thing up to where it's close to flush with your bunks. Bunks actually seem pretty solid, so that's good. We can probably just wrap them with carpet. This motor does have this little broken piece right here. I'm not sure. I don't assume that's going to affect too much, but like I said, we'll find that out too, I suppose. That's about it as far as this boat goes. Said I'd like to clean this thing up, take it to the water as is, see what that little motor does, and then we can figure out what to do with that, because that's going to be a huge cost. We'll have to get that thing running good and sell it, or leave it on the boat. If we have to get it running good and sell it, we'll have to sell it and then find another motor to go on here. I'm gonna root for the underdog because I'm a cheapskate and I don't want to have to spend extra money on another motor. Not to mention, them smaller motors sometimes can be kind of hard to get rid of. A lot of people try to get $100 of horsepower, but not around here. Everybody else is cheapskates too. Maybe this is the cheapskate capital of the United States. I don't know. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this thing up and we'll start fooling with that motor.
How is that safe?
It's not. It's supposed to have a guard on. I took it off. What?
That's not safe.
YOLO.
That's why I backed up.
Oh, we got her pretty cleaned up. Actually cleaned up really nice. Got a little cooler in here. I'm trying to figure out exactly what I want to do to the front. Don't pay attention to that. I'm not sure if that's going to go like that or not. I'm just playing around right now, trying to get ideas. Cleaned up really nice though. Good bones on the boat. Trailer, still skeptical. Oh, a little gas tank. Little gas tank really turned around on us. That's going to be usable. I got a brand new fuel line sitting right in there. All right, let's see if we can get this old 97 Johnson running. All right, let's see if we can get this motor to run. Went ahead and filled the barrel up so it'd be in my way. I guess the smart thing to do, go ahead and take this carburetor off and clean it up real quick. That way we can eliminate that. This is like the easiest carburetor to get to I've ever seen on an outboard. All right, we'll go ahead and pull this off. Check it out. I cleaned the carb all up. It wasn't too bad, really. Went ahead and made me a new gas line for it. Poured the old gas out and filled it up with some Wally World 2-stroke gas. I heard gas going into the bowl and it ain't leaking out anywhere. What's the chances of that it's gonna fire up? What's the chances that if it fires up, it's actually gonna pee? Yeah, not good. Didn't like that. It's not peeing out of this thing. Make sure this ain't clogged. It is. It's clogged good. Get some kind of wire and try to clean this out. Hopefully that's all it is. That'd be nice. All right, see if we can crank it up again. Seems to be running okay. It's very high idled when it's in neutral, but it goes down when you put it in gear. But this is your idle adjustment and it's not even touching. Timing could be off a hair, but it's peeing, it's running, it's going in both gears. So it's pretty cool. Now all we gotta do is try and test this thing out. It's just started to rain right now. So it's 10 o'clock. Closest place I have to safely run a boat is about 50 minutes away. So if I'm gonna do it today, I need to get on the ball. It's the next day, but the little 6-horse did pretty good. Did take a while to get on plane, but once it did, it got up to 13, steady 13, and actually touched 14 a couple times. So that actually gives me some room after adding a little bit of weight to it. You know, I should still be above 10, I hope. Also be kind of neat to see how much adding weight to the boat's going to slow it down, because basically she was stripped down to just a bare bones John boat yesterday, which I'm not doing a whole lot to this boat. I was originally wanting to try out some different things with my next build, but it's looking like this was going to be more of a budget friendly build because I'm a poor and the government got all my savings. But I do want to try to do some different things with this boat. What I think I'm going to do is cut out a square in that bench for a cooler. I know I'm not like reinventing the wheel by doing that, but originally what I was wanting to do is create more floor space in the boat. And most of the times, you know, you're going to have a cooler in the boat. So if I notch that bench out and I'm going to, you know, wall it in with aluminum, I will have a place to put the cooler and it won't be in the middle of the floor. It'll serve as a live well or, you know, cold drink cooler. So I plan on doing that, and basically just a floor. I've already ordered the paint, which I did go a different route. I'm trying out a new paint, let you guys know how it turns out. Basically it's going to be a floor, Hydroturf. Looking for a trolling motor. Hopefully I can snag one on Marketplace. Like I said, this needs to be a budget build. These 12-foot boats, the smaller boats, anything under 14 is kind of rough, you know, as far as resale value. You got to find the right person looking for something small to get rid of it. So, as per usual, I'm kind of building this boat the way I would like it, in case I get stuck with it. I know it's kind of vague description of what we're going to be doing, but that's what we're going to be doing. As far as right now, I guess my next step needs to be go ahead and get this motor off. We're going to doll it up a little bit. I actually started taking these decals off. Neighbor was over there vacuuming his grass or something. I don't know. He finally stopped in time for me to do a little video. But go ahead and take this motor off and get it on a stand. And then I guess we need to get the boat off the trailer. All right, let's get to work. Last minute decision making. I'm going to go ahead and sand on this motor while it's right up here in my face and easy to work on and steady. Not going to go overkill with the motor. Probably just flat black it or satin black it and try to get some decals that are reasonably affordable. Probably not the original one since they're wanting like 89 bucks for them. But since it's right here close to my electricity, I'll go ahead and sand it. Then we'll move it over to a motor stand and we can start taking this boat off. I guess before I move this thing, I'm gonna go ahead and put me some filler in some of these spots. We can get it looking a little slicker. Oh, and by the way, if y'all ever feel dumb, get down on yourself, remember that I just tried to sand on this motor with no sanding pad. I took it off to hit the nooks and crannies and then found some more spots and just went to town on it. And I was wondering, why ain't this doing right? Well, that's why. Got the boat off the trailer. My wife is going to love the placement of this boat right next to her Jeep. I don't really have anywhere else to put it. I don't want to sand it in the garage because everything nasty as crap, so this is going to have to do for now. Now we can assess this trailer. Well, I tell you what, this thing is heavy duty. This whole thing is completely boxed in. What is this for? I don't know. It's got a hole back here to get to it. I guess one time it had wires running through it, but now it's just going to this, which is totally boxed in all the way up. So, I don't know. And we got this conduit for the trailer wires that are ran right now. Of course, we've already talked about this Helen Keller welding job we did back here on these guideposts, and this shoddy wiring, which it's just really old. The taillights actually work. When I took it out yesterday, they actually worked, and I was shocked. But I feel like I need to go ahead and replace them because they're so brittle. $10, might as well replace it. Taillights, we got one on this side that's got a busted side lens. I might have a spare one of those taillights laying around. If I do, I'll replace it and just try to use these taillights, even though they're a little crusty. But like I said, we're on a budget. We gotta pinch some pennies here. I really don't know where to start on this thing. Of course, somebody put this carpet on with roofing nails, so that's going to be a nightmare to get it off. I have carpet from that old ski boat I did last year. I ordered like 5 times too much carpet. It's gray, but we're going to have to live with it on this boat because that saves me $16. I'm going to use it to recover them bunks. These bunks look solid, and that saves us another, what, traded 2x4s are about $8-9 a piece for an 8 foot, so that's another $20 we can skimp. Probably just take a wire wheel and knock this paint off, and then I'm just going to roll this thing probably with Rust-Oleum, some oil-based paint, because I got some laying around. We got to figure out what to do with these things. I like them, but they're too tight for this boat, really, and I don't want to scratch the paint up every time I load it. So I don't know, figure out something to do other than what we got going on here. And also, this winch does not work, of course. So there goes another $25. So already we done spent $25 on a winch, wiring harness, $10. It's $35. If we're going to need 2 wheels, that's $100. I mean, you got to watch out on these trailers, man. You can spend a lot of your funds on them. But it's better than buying a new trailer. And I haven't seen any sitting around. All right, I guess let's talk more work, right? Hey, how's it going? Well, we are going to be sanding today, and you can tell by the look on my face, I'm really excited about it. Probably the worst part of building a boat is the prep for paint, whether it's the trailer or the boat itself. Prepping sucks, but if you want your paint job to look worth the crap, you gotta do the prep. And it might look good if you don't do the prep. It's not gonna last very long. So that's what we're doing today. I'm just going over this trailer right now. Full wire brush, angle grinder. Not trying to get it 100%, just trying to knock any of the loose crap off. Maybe kind of sand off some of this surface rust. And get it ready to roll on some paint, hopefully today. Also going to be sanding on the boat today. Probably sand the inside first because that's how it's sitting. Flip it upside down, sand the outside. Hopefully have that done before Amanda gets home for lunch so she can help me move it inside the garage, get it ready for paint. And if I get all that done in time, I'm going to be sanding on the motor, all the Bondo that I put on it yesterday, get it ready for paint. So, all right, I'll get back to work. Wish me luck. All right, like I said, nothing special. Just knocked the heavy off, maybe some of the dirt that was still on there after pressure washing the thing, because the boat was on it when I pressure washed it, but knocked the loose paint off, some of the rust. I went ahead and took the winch off, ordered a new winch. Probably might lob that top off somewhere, put a top plate on it, have the winch up top. Maybe. I don't even know if I got any plate. Anyhow, we got it all sanded down and good enough, at least. Good enough for us. And I guess a smart thing to do would probably be like take some rust converter or something like that and spray on this whole thing and probably prime it. So we're not going to do that and just slap some paint on it. But actually I need to take that janky boat carpet off too. I'm going to hold off on that, start sanding on this boat. I actually started a little bit while I was waiting on the compressor to shut up so I could film a little bit. Go ahead and knock this boat out. Like I said, the inside and the bottom. Early this morning I went ahead and took the decals off and the front numbers and a little sticker on the inside, just with some mineral spirits and a razor blade. Got that all cleaned up. And I knocked off the oar locks yesterday. Got bored. I actually saw somebody making fun of people that take john boats and turn them into bass boats or whatever, saying that as long as you have oar locks, it's still a john boat. So I took them off. So this isn't a john boat anymore, right? It don't have oar locks. Anyhow, we're gonna go ahead and jump on this. I'm gonna sand it with a mouse sander as good as I can. Inside, which we're gonna put a floor in it and a front deck, probably Hydroturf the seats. So I'm not too worried about a whole lot on the inside because it's gonna be covered up. But we're gonna get all the stuff that's gonna be shown and probably all the stuff that's gonna be Hydroturf too, because help the Hydroturf stick. And then we'll flip it over and do the same thing to the outside. I'm gonna coat my wife's Jeep with this green paint. That's what she gets for marrying somebody that messes with john boats. Just kidding. She has guns. About time you showed up.
I've been working.
I need your help.
Oh, you're not that you miss me or anything. What?
We're gonna move that buckets.
Oh, so we're taking away my spot?
No, listen, let me finish. Moving this to the buckets. And get the sawhorses in here. And then we're moving the boat from the buckets to in here. Look, I need to borrow your garage for a few days.
A few days. Is this the light in?
Come on now.
No, I'm not gripping it yet.
You ready?
This is easier than the other way.
Alright, we got a lot done today. Didn't get any painting, but we got everything sanded. The boat is pretty much ready for paint. We still got to do a little bit of prep on it. Trailer is ready for paint. I'll probably do that tomorrow and probably start painting on the motor tomorrow too. Cool. Sanding is the worst part about doing one of these boats. I'm glad it's over. Well, we're getting ready to paint this boat. Like I said, I went with a different paint brand that I've ever used, and actually it was really cheap. I want to say it was 45 bucks. I think I got it on Amazon. I had to pay tax on it, so just say 50 bucks. Wasn't too bad for what is marine boat paint. So anyhow, I got Duralux. If you look them up online and look up some of the reviews, it's all pretty good reviews on this stuff. It is a oil base, so I'm assuming it's going to be a little bit tougher than some of the latex brands I've used in the past that I didn't like. They got a bunch of different colors too, which is really cool. This one is dead grass green. It looks to be very green, like a John boat green, but in the reviews that I saw, it showed a picture of somebody's boat that he painted and it looked like it was more tan than green. Or it looked more tan than what the swatch indicated. So we'll see. Either way, if it's a darker green, I'm okay with it. If it's lighter than that, I'm okay with it too. I'm kind of just looking for a John boat green color. They had like a couple different greens. I can't remember what the other one was called, but they have some pretty cool colors. For aluminum, it says touch up all bare areas with Duralux Zinc Chromate Primer number M739, topped with 2 full coats of Duralax. I couldn't find any of the primer without ordering and have to wait for a while, but basically what that Zinc Chromate Primer is just a self-etching primer. I picked some up from Harbor Freight. Do I recommend doing this? I don't know. I mean, apparently you should always follow what they say. So if you're wanting to do as best of a job you can, I would recommend getting their primer. But I think I'm going to be okay doing this. We don't have very many bare aluminum spots anyway. So first step I'm going to do is hit some of these spots with this and then let it dry for like, I don't know, an hour or two. And then I'll go back over everything with some grease and wax remover. And then we'll go ahead and start painting this thing. Already off to a great start with this cheap Harbor Freight crap. I had to break the cap just to get the daggum cap off of it. I don't recommend this stuff. This stuff kind of sucks. I think it's like 90%, I don't know, whatever that's not color in paint. That stuff did not put on a solid coat anywhere, but then when you try to lay it on heavy, it will try to run on you. I will say, if you can't get the Duralux like they recommend, get you some Rust-Oleum self-etching primer. They sell it at Lowe's and Home Depot. I just happened to be at Harbor Freight, saw this and picked it up. So yeah, I wouldn't use this stuff if I were you. Also, I'd like to point out this says for full cure, allow 72 hours before top coating. Well, crap. Well, daggum Harbor Freight or Iron Armor. I said 2 hours, but it's not like I'm in a huge hurry. I'm in a hurry to get the boat done, but I'm be waiting on parts and stuff, so no sense of rushing the paint job. I guess I'll go jump to the trailer and the motor. All right, it's been a little bit. It hasn't been exactly 72 hours, so don't sue me. But we're gonna attempt to paint this thing. Same things I've always done. Little cheap foam roller from Harbor Freight. Little cheap chip brushes from Harbor Freight. I'm just gonna roll just one channel at a time, then one section at a time. I'll do this all the way down, jump down and do this all the way down, try to eliminate, roller marks or dry spots. First coat isn't that important as your second coat. It says 2 thin coats, so this will be coat 1. Hopefully tomorrow we can knock out coat 2 and see what she looks like. All right, wish me luck. All right, there we go with one coat. Went on pretty good. A little thinner than Alumahawk 2. Definitely, I mean, you can still see the base paint up under this, but I think 2 coats should cover everything pretty well. Really digging this color. I think it's awesome. It's actually more of a, I'd say, dark beige, light brown than a green. I'll put a little picture of the swatch up here, show you how green that it looks online compared to what it looks like, in real life. All right, it says dry 12 to 6 hours before recoating, and I'll be sleeping then or at work. So it's gonna have to wait till maybe tomorrow and get the second coat on. I won't show you guys that. I'll just show you what it looks like when we're done. I just want to give you guys an update on what the paint looks like. I went ahead and put 2 coats on the outside of the boat and 2 coats on the inside of the boat. Went ahead and painted the entire trailer, put carpet on the bunks, tail lights mounted on the bunks, but they're not wired in yet. As you can see, I ended up getting some 3-inch black PVC and slipped over the guides. The original bunks were like spliced, where it was kind of like a pizza shape, where you could bend them out, but somebody put like a strap on each one. I cut it to where I could bend them back a little bit, but I have yet to weld them. I'll show you guys that when I have a better look at the trailer. But anyhow, just want to give you guys a little bit of update. I still have some work to do to the trailer. As you can see, I kind of have the boat where I want it, but we got to do some adjusting on this. And then, of course, the winch strap. It's been really busy lately. If you can hear in the background, we have a new additive to the family here. This is Rebel. I know Rebel. Don't give me crap about it. Look at her collar. Her name's Rebel, but she's a Tennessee fan. My wife, bless her heart, is a diehard Ole Miss fan, and she came from the Oxford area, and I cannot deny the fact that she responds to Rebel. Don't know who her original owners are. She was dropped off at a friend of mine's house, a friend of mine that I work with, and he has too many dogs. He talked with his neighbor. She actually stayed at his neighbor's house for a few days. He was trying to run her off. He said, my buddy has too many dogs. His wife put it on Facebook. Is anybody missing a dog? They live in a really small town, and nobody responded to it. He knew that I'm a big softy for labs. So he said, hey man, you want this dog? And we said yes. So we have a new pupper, and her name is Rebel, and all she wants to do is play fetch. And it has been the focus of our attention the past few days. So that's why I'm a little behind on boat stuff and filming stuff, but I got a lot of work to do tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday, so I'm gonna do all the rest of this adjusting on the trailer. Probably start working on the inside too. I went and picked some foam for the bottom of the boat today, so that and a dog kennel and a new ball, a swimming pool. Somebody's a little spoiled puppy. Somebody's a spoiled puppy already. All right, guys, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Alright, this is what I was talking about. They had sliced this right here and bent it out and then put this strap on and welded it to it to keep it from breaking completely off. Rebel. Seriously. So what I did was just cut it so I could bend it out a little bit more. What I plan on doing is welding another strap on there. I know it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it's going to be the easiest cheapest way to fix it. These guys were already tight on this boat, and adding this PVC made it even worse. So had to bend it out each side a little bit. It should be okay. Like I said, not the prettiest thing in the world, but should work out for us. Rebel, go take a break. Goodness gracious. All right, I'm gonna knock this out. That way I can go ahead and wire these taillights up and go ahead and finish everything I need to do on this trailer today at least. This dog, definitely not perfect, but we got it on there, spliced in. We got a little bit more room on each side. Not a ton of room, but I was scared if I bent it too much more, it was gonna be too weak on this outer side, so I think that's gonna work, hopefully. All right, now I'm gonna start working on that winch bracket and adjusting that front roller. All right, while she's gone, show you guys what I did. Loosen this right here and moved it forward a tad, and then I was able to loosen this bolt and push this back, so now we got contact here, but we're not off the bunks. The boat's still flat on the bunks. And then what I did right here is I kind of pulled, just eyeballed where I wanted the winch to be, and then lobbed off about 3 pounds of steel, and then welded me a plate right here and cut some holes in it. Still going to have to put me some kind of bolt with an eye on it right here, because this don't fit. This is too big, but that ain't that big of a deal. Just want to let you guys know what I did. I still have to get a little more hardware, paint it, and then cinch everything down after I get that bolt. And I mean, everything's pretty much done now, other than painting this, bolting that on with a little eye bolt. So, all right, we're done with that. Jeez, this is my life now. I succumb to it. All right, next thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and put this foam in. All right, pretty cut and dry. Got it all in there. Turned out decent. Actually, I think I'm done for the day, because somebody, I don't want to name any names, is driving me absolutely crazy. All right, tomorrow, I guess we can start putting this floor in. See you guys in. I pretty much got this squared away. I think it looks okay. I got me a little eyelet thing here and put a fender washer on each side, drilled a hole out. Kind of far away. The only problem I might see is I liked how this had that loop for a safety chain. That's gonna be a really long safety chain, which, I mean, I could put a safety chain somewhere else if I had to. The quick solution would be to move this up, but someone has spliced this tongue at one time and then put plates on each side to sturdy it up. So I don't know. As of right now, this is okay. We've got to revisit a lot of the stuff and paint here and there and touch up stuff, but as of right now, pretty much done with the trailer, I believe, other than tires. Putting that off to the very last because it's expensive. So I guess before doing this floor, I'm gonna go ahead and cut out for this cooler. This is the cooler I'm using. It's the Arctic cooler. It's a 32 quart cooler. You go to their website, they're lightweight coolers. I kind of like that for this boat. Also, it kind of matches the paint, so that's why I went with that one. I already took the measurements for it, the top. It's gonna stick up a little bit higher. I said that before, but this is the hole I'm going to cut out. The reason I want to go ahead and cut this out first is because I want to know how far up under to run my flooring, before I do the flooring. I don't want to waste aluminum where I don't need to be. We're going to have to reinforce this seat because, because taking out this huge chunk is going to weaken it a lot and be stepping right here. Actually, I'm going to put a pedestal right here, part of a pedestal. So we're going to make sure that this seat is still stout. So we want to tie this into the floor. That's why I want to run the floor up under the seat so we can tie it all together, if you're picking up what I'm laying down. Anyhow, go ahead and cut this out. I think I'm going to just use like a cutoff disc on an angle grinder. All right, let's get to work. I ain't got it cut out. I got one little boo-boo over there. Kind of got into my seat when I was cutting that foam out with that Sawzall. But seems to be okay. Cleaned it up a little bit. So much for not throwing foam everywhere. I got a little ridiculous. And then when I was vacuuming it up, yeah, it spit foam all through my garage. So, but we got the hole cut out, and actually it's pretty stout as is, but I'm still going to wall this in somehow and then connect the seat to the bottom of the floor. Try to tie everything in. I'm gonna try to run the floor all the way up to that rib because I plan on putting the battery right here anyways. We'll have a good place to put it, and we'll be able to tie this cutout section all the way around to make this seat extra stout, which is going to be, you know, it's going to be our deck. All right, so the cooler fits in there pretty good. We cut a hole and it's the right size. First thing I'm gonna do is make a template for the floor, and we can go ahead and cut it out and go ahead and put it in, because now that we have this opening, we know exactly where to run the floor. All right, I got the floor cut out. I made a little template for it out of cardboard. Worked out pretty good. I could have ran it a little bit further, but I wanted to break it on that rib because the piece I had wasn't long enough to make it to this next rib. Drop it. This is gonna be a whole lot of editing because of you. Dang it. But anyhow, I don't really have a good piece of metal. Luckily, a buddy of mine wants me to put a floor in his boat, so I hollered at my other buddy, who I've been getting my metal from, and told him, you know, get a couple sheets of aluminum from him. So I'll have enough to do the deck now. I was going to use this sign for the deck, but it almost works perfect. Put it right here, just butt it up. All this is going to be covered anyways. And we'll have like a little flat space to put battery, and then, you know, some support beams for the deck. It should be okay. Also gonna tie it into this rib too, and then I'm gonna go ahead and attach my floor down, and then we can go ahead and put that piece in. I ain't even gonna cut it. I'm just gonna let it be what it is. We'll go ahead and rivet it in on that one spot and that next rib, and then I guess we can move on to kind of figuring out what we want to do right here. All right, got a little bit of rat's nest here, so bear with me with my clutter. But we went ahead and pop riveted the floor in. We pop riveted this piece right here in. And I went ahead and run a piece of angle across the front, drop down a little bit with a little filler gauge. So when we put our top on, it'll be flush with the seats. The same thing in the back all the way across. I kind of found center and ran me two up the front, the same width as one of these seat posts. It should go somewhere like that. And I actually end up doubling up on this side. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Plan on doing poor man hatches, kind of like I did on the blue boat, where it's just like a piano hinge and then just a piece of decking that opens up with like a little latch. I mean, it works. So also run a piece right here, which I plan on doubling up like so, and which I ran out of aluminum, so I'm gonna have to go and get some more of that. And then I'm gonna run me some studs right here, probably one on each side. And the same thing right here on this brace, one on each side. I know that centerpiece is going to be really good. I'm going to have to kind of fill this one out. I don't know. You know, the blue boat, because since it was such a small boat, was fine doing it like this. But this boat being 36 inches, I might have to figure out a way to kind of stouten this up some. So, like I said, we'll figure that out. I'm kind of been avoiding doing all this mess because I still am scratching my head about how to really get this thing stout. Like right here, you know, that's going to be a weak point. That thing's going to want to twist. I don't want to end up having leaky rivets because of it. So we're going to have to tie that in, and then I want to box this C-notch in too. Slide the cooler in. We're also going to have to figure out, you know, what we're going to do about getting the cooler in and out. Not exactly sure how we're going to go about doing that. So I think I'm going to call it a day on this. I still got to mess with that motor some. I'm having a heck of a time painting that thing. Pull off on this because, like I said, I need to go get some more angle. Kind of blowing the whole budget thing out of the water on this boat because, like I said earlier, I'm going to have to get a whole new sheet of aluminum. Just this angle right here that I got today was right at $100 at Lowe's, so that sucks. And probably gonna have to get at least that much more to finish all this stuff out. All right, pick it up whenever we get that stuff. All right, went and picked us up some metal. Rebel's gonna help. We took the day off working on boats yesterday, and we went fishing. Took her for her first boat ride. She did real good. Well, that probably doesn't look like I did a whole lot, but that was a lot of work. Real tedious crap. Well, I think I'm pretty much done with framing this deck up here. I went ahead and framed out a spot for a seat pedestal base. That should be sturdy. I got 2 studs right there. I have 2 studs going on this rib right here. So that should be really good support. I tied all my braces together, and I went ahead and run some studs to the front on this rib. So I think that's going to be good. I went through and put me some little shim strips in all the way around where, you know, you put one piece of metal and the other piece goes under it and you have a little gap. Went ahead and corrected all that. So I'm pretty sure this is good to go. I actually have the centerpiece right here. Already got it cut out, ready to go. Said each side is going to be a hatch with hinges. There's some stainless steel hinges. Put it right here. Fold up. Poor man hatches, I say. I think it'll work. Might be a little bit of a weak spot right here. I might have to address that later on, but we'll have to wait and see because I don't feel like fooling with it now. As you see, I already got my little battery came in. I'm using a 50 amp hour lithium battery for this boat. Now, would I recommend a 50 amp hour? I don't know. How much do you troll? If you're going to be out on the lake trolling for like 4 or 5 hours, I definitely go with a 100 amp hour. 50 amp hour, the most I'm hardly ever fishing and trolling around is maybe 2 hours max. So I think I'm going to get away with the 50 amp hour. I put a 50 amp hour on the little blue boat. It did fine. I think this one's going to do fine for my purposes. Like I said, I'm not trying to promote using a 50 amp hour battery for your trolling motor. It's just what I'm using. This is a small boat. I'm not going to be trolling that much. So I think I can get away with it fine. And look how, I mean, I didn't even mean to do that. It just fits in there perfectly. Also, I went ahead and put me some pieces in this C-notch I made. See, I put a piece going up, piece up top, piece on the back, same way on this side. And then I found out where the piece of metal is going to go and put a brace on the bottom. What I think I'm going to do is just cut me out some square pieces to go on each side, and probably going to leave this one open. I think that's going to look okay. If I think it looks hideous, I might readdress it. But as of right now, that's all I like doing is putting these pieces in, and I'm going to wait to see what kind of scrap I got left over after doing these hatches before I cut those out. That's why I'm waiting on that. But that's where we're at right now. I'm going to go ahead and cut these hatches and hopefully get them put in today. Had to kick my little shop back out to the curb. I think it's on its last leg. I can't complain though. I think I've had that thing since like 2002. All right, dudes, I believe we are done with the metal work on this little boat. I got my little C-notch walled in on both sides, and that really sturdied it up. Kind of want to keep these little open spots because that's a good little storage place. Slide a paddle in there probably, get it out of your way. Also got our poor man hatches done. Are they perfect? No. Are they watertight? No. And do they work? Also probably no. But I think it's going to work for us. I actually did these a little bit different than before. And I riveted them in on the top side, the lid itself. I usually get some little screws, little countersunk head screws. But, you know, I kind of did a full send on it and just hoped it worked out. And it did. The only problem I have is a little kicked up in the back. But I got some latches. Instead of putting the latches right here, I think I'm going to put them more in the middle. And hopefully it'll draw it down a little bit. And if it don't, you know, it's fine too. I ain't going to get mad at it. I think it's going to be okay without adding any extra bracing in here. I mean, it's a 1236 boat. You shouldn't be standing on the edge of it anyways. I mean, I got up here and everything seems pretty stout. So if it'll hold a 215-pound man when it's on dry land standing on the edge, it should be fine. You know, standing around you know, the vicinity of the edge. I feel like my weight goes up every time I tell you guys about it. Funny how that happens. Shoot, I remember when I was 135 pounds just 10 years ago. But, you know, that's what union lockout, not a strike. The company locked us out. And then I got divorced, and then both my dogs died. And within a month of each other. Yeah, that sounds like a daggum country music song, don't it? But anyhow, I digress. I believe this hatch and my framework is going to work out just fine. And now my cooler should be able to slide right in here. And that's going to look good. Only other thing I think I'm going to do metal-wise on this boat is add some rod holders. I got golf tubes. I'm going to add 3 to the front and 3 to the back for the butt of the rods. I think that's going to be okay. And then I might wall these things in with some scrap metal too. I got plenty of that laying around just so your stuff ain't sliding around on the inside. Well, all right. I will see you guys tomorrow. We're going to do the golf tubes and then start working on this Hydroturf. What do you think, Rebel? You ready for this boat to be done? Huh? You ready for it to be done? Me too. Rod storage complete. The tubes all the way ran through this side and most of the way through this side. Is it my best work? No, but I blame my assistant. I think it's going to work though. We'll clean up that RTV a little bit with some acetone and then hopefully be able to paint over it and hide the boo-boos. All right, Hydroturf time. All right, for the Hydroturf, I'm going with actual Hydroturf brand, and then this color is Swamp Camo, I believe. Got 2 sheets of it. Hopefully it'll work. You know, since this is a budget-friendly build now, I went with the most expensive Hydroturf I could find. Hydroturf, check. Good thing we didn't make any bad mistakes because we got no whole lot left. All right, got just enough probably to do some of these inside hatches. So I'll probably go and wall these in before everything's said and done. All right, on to the next step. Oh boy. Ow. Well, believe it or not, this is the good side. The other side, I took the hub off and bearings fell on the ground. That's a plus. All the bearings are intact, but we have water in it, so that means best bet is go ahead and get a whole kit. Well, that's finally done. It only took 3 days, $30 worth of bearings from Walmart, and an $89 tap and die set from Harbor Freight. Guys, check your bearings. I know a year ago I'd be preaching to the choir, but I learned the hard way. Your trailer bearings, your hubs, is not like one of them set it and forget it type of things. You're really supposed to grease your bearings every year. I know that kind of depends on how much you use your boat. You know, if you're just fishing 3 or 4 times a year, but if you're fishing like me, you know, you're driving an hour like each way, you know, 100 to 200 times a year, you really need to repack your bearings every year. Now, I don't care if you got bearing buddies, Teletubbies, whatever, check your bearings, because all that stuff isn't going to save you. So just word to the wise, check your bearings. I got a little battery tucked in there and wired up to a breaker, a trolling motor. I want to show you guys this rigamaroo I got going on up here for a trolling motor mount. Not overly pleased with it, but the price was right. I got it for free. I just used crap I had laying around. This is just an old piece of I think it was a piece of a transom, because it's coated with fiberglass resin on both sides. And just put me a little 1-inch angle bracket, bolted it down all the way through part of the boat. It does have a little bit of flex to it, and it's ugly as crap. I didn't center it because I thought I'm right-handed, so I thought, you know, moving it to this side would be a little bit easier, but it makes it look even worse. Was going to get one of these. I'll put the little picture of it up here, but the reviews were terrible on it, and it don't give like all the measurements to it, like the measurement from the bottom to the angle where it goes up. So I don't know, I shied away from it. Plus I'd already put these cleats in with my rope, and if that thing's running up here, get in the way, so I didn't do that. Just want to let you guys know in case y'all see the finished part of the boat and wonder what the freak is going on. Well, that's what it is. Chris saving some money and being a cheapskate said I'll probably revisit this at some time and try to figure out something else. I also went ahead and walled this side in. That way, at least, you know, you can put some tackle boxes or something in here, some lure boxes, and they won't slide away on you. But we're real close to done. Like, I'm missing a couple screws here. I ran out, I picked them up, and a whole lot of painting and cleaning up, and we can take this thing out. I also need to get another carabiner for this so I can attach it here. Put me a little spare tire holder on there. Get everything cleaned up, painted, and let's take this thing out. Got to put the motor on it too. Alright dudes, the maiden voyage of the 12-foot Landau is complete. Not without any hiccups, but that's every boat that I've done. And I'd also like to go ahead and close this video out because it's been way long. I really appreciate you guys that are still watching to this point. I know it's kind of out of my wheelhouse to do a video like this, but I wanted to do it from start to finish. I know I rushed through a lot of things and didn't explain a lot of stuff, but I mean, this was kind of a basic build. I didn't really do anything that I haven't done before other than cut that bench seat out. I think I kind of explained what I was doing there. And I'm very happy with how the boat turned out. I know it's nothing crazy. It's kind of just a basic John boat. I think it's very respectable. And, you know, it does everything I need it to. Could we have added a lot of electronics to it? Yes. Would I use them? No. I mean, I have my big boat that has a lot of electronics. I mean, I use my depth finder every time I go, and I use my power pole a lot, but like all my lights and stuff like that, like I don't really use that stuff. I'd also like to point out that I did not coat the rivets. I meant to include that earlier in the video. This is the first boat that I've done that I was actually able to take out on the water, and it didn't leak. It didn't leak a drop, and all the rivets look completely fine. That's why I didn't do it. I don't think that's a necessary thing to do with every boat you get. If you get some sketchy looking rivets, you know, maybe you should coat the rivets. But if you can take the boat out and it's not leaking, you know, don't spend that extra $80, you know, on some glove. So I want to point that out. Also, I'd like to point out the paint. I know I used a new paint. I told you guys I'd let you know how I felt about it. Unfortunately, I do not recommend it. I don't know, maybe it's just this particular color, dead grass green, but if you just take your finger and wipe across the paint, you're going to leave like a chalky white mark. So it's not very tough paint, but it's also only $50. So sometimes you get what you pay for. You know, Duralux $50, Lumahawk's like $125. So like I said, sometimes, unfortunately, you get what you pay for. Probably will not be using their paint again. I would rather spend the extra money and get some durable paint because I'm kind of rough on my crap. There's a few things I like to change on the boat. After the first outing, I might do a video on it. It won't be long at all. We'll just have to see. If it seems like a bunch of boring crap, I'll probably just don't worry about it and just do it on my own. But definitely a few things I'd like to change. But overall, very happy with the boat. Something any of you guys could do in your garage. I will say I spent a lot more money on this boat than I wanted to. I'm scaring $3,000 on this boat from the day I bought it until how it sits in the driveway right now. And I'm already in the back of my mind kind of thinking about some stuff I'd like to change and spend more money on. So just to let you guys know, scrap is not cheap. You know, I did not have to buy aluminum for it. I could have put a wood floor in. I got some wood in my shed that I could have used for a floor and probably enough for the deck too. And that could have saved me a lot of money. I didn't have to go with expensive Hydroturf. I could have went with the Amazon China brand. But my problem with a lot of those brands is I don't like the colors of a lot of them. This is actually the same color that I have in my big boat, so I knew exactly what I was getting into. I've used that brand before. I know it's good, and I knew it was going to match the theme of the boats. That's why I went with it. I didn't have to. I was like $350 for the foam on this boat. I could have shopped around and got a used trolling motor and probably saved another $50. I mean, just because I spent a lot of money doesn't mean you guys have to, but in the grand scheme of things, to build these boats, it does get a little pricey. And kind of being a cheapskate every once in a while will play out in your favor, you know, if you're just wanting to get out there and enjoy your boat. And I want to stress that to any of you guys that think you have to keep up with the Joneses with what your boat looks like. Yeah, I mean, do as good as you can, but don't forget that it's a recreational vehicle. You want to enjoy it. Get out there and fish. Like I said in the previous video, if you want a floor in your boat, throw a wood floor in it and take it fishing, man. That's the most important thing, is the enjoyment you're going to get out of your boat. I'm pretty sure a lot of these guys that are spending $5,000-$6,000 on a little John boat or get to the point where they're scared to take it out because they have so much money invested. So it's just sitting in their garage somewhere. So you can just buy a John boat and catch fish out of it. You don't have to do a single thing to it. I just kind of want to show you guys what I do. I enjoy it. You don't have to do what I do whatsoever. If you were to come over to my house today and show me your John boat that was handed down from your pawpaw, I'd be stoked about it. If it had 18 layers of paint on it and, you know, dings and dents and whatnot, if you're having fun with it, that sounds like a great boat to me. All right, guys, like I said, I really appreciate you guys that have watched this far, and I'll see you on the next one.